folks, Mike Dawkins from Worldcast Anglers here with your Jackson Hole fly fishing forecast for the 24th and 25th of September. Happy fall. It's the first day of fall today. I'm over here on the Snake outside of Jackson. We've got the willows changing, we've got the cottonwoods changing. We've had a vast amount of precipitation these past 24 hours, and now it finally feels like fall. And we couldn't be more excited for fall. As I was saying last week, we all love summer and fishing in shorts and flip-flops and, you know, drop big foam flies and everything like that. But we love fall, those times when the crowds start to wane off of our rivers. We sort of get more space. Our daytime fishing hours aren't limited to these super early morning periods and super late evening periods. It's sort of banker's hours there from 10 until 4. We've got football starting up. If you're a football fan, it's just a great time of year to be here in the greater Jackson Hole and Teton Valley area. Not to mention, our fishing gets really good when we start to get these precipitation bands and these shots of cool weather. While, you know, it sort of gives us the first feelings of winter coming along, it feels pretty good after a nice, hot, oppressive summer that we've been having, you know, or we had there at the end of August, beginning of September in the greater Jackson Hole area. Things to note looking forward into our fishing, you know, for the next couple weeks before fall really takes a firm grasp. You're going to have this sort of transitional time where we're going to see a lot of Hecuba drakes, we're going to see a lot of mahoganies, we're going to see a lot of Baetis, blue-wing olives, and we're also going to see some midges and some things, you know, October caddis and some other things smattered around here and there. Don't put your terrestrials away, your hoppers, your beetles, your ants, your foam bugs. When it gets hot and when it gets sunny and bright again, those bugs are going to come back into play, especially midday and afternoons, whether you're fishing single foam or you're fishing dry dropper style. Leave those things in there for the next couple weeks before you go strictly to our fall bugs. We're sort of still in a transitional time. You're not going to see many, you know, PMDs and things like that, but we definitely, you know, we're on the cusp of our fall hatches really getting going, but not really on full throttle yet, and we've still got a little bit of our terrestrial, you know, end of summer hatches happening, where those would be the areas where I would be concentrating my bug selections there in the next couple weeks moving forward. I definitely would start packing my streamers, and I definitely would be getting my sink tips or your poly leaders or your full sinking lines ready to go for our streamer fishing. Today would be a glorious day for stripping streamers on the South Fork, the Snake here, the Henry's Fork, anything, and that gets us super excited too to get after some of those fish when they're getting aggressive before the winter season sets in. Jackson Lake, 19% of capacity. Palisades Reservoir, 14% of capacity. We're going to start seeing some drawdowns as we did earlier this week on the South Fork of the Snake. The Snake drawdowns are going to happen, you know, starting on the 26th. I'll go into more of that later. Saturday looks like a glorious fall day, 68 and 39 in sunny, 71 and 40 on Sunday with plenty of sunshine. So the Snake behind me, 1,890 CFS, fluctuating around that 2,000 CFS mark here that we've seen for the past couple weeks, around 3,700 CFS going into Palisades Reservoir before the salt and the grays. Starting on the 26th, the Bureau of Rec is going to start lowering the flows on the Snake. So we're going to start to see from September 26th to around October 3rd is going to be the drawdown time, and by October 3rd, the Bureau of Rec is hoping to have the Snake at winter flows, which is 280 CFS coming out of Jackson Lake Dam. So what that means is get your floats in now, because the floats are going to get really bony and really long for some of those sections, like areas of the park, Wilson to South Park, Moose to Wilson, like behind me and stuff like that, where it's going to be, those are going to be really difficult options at lower flows. So float now, get those last sort of floats in, Deadman's to Moose, Moose to Wilson, Packs to Deadman's, Wilson to South Park, all of that kind of stuff, because it's going to get tough later. We're seeing some Hecubas, we're seeing mahoganies, Baetis, things of those lines as I was just talking about, and we're also still having some pretty good hopper and foam fishing on the Snake. Look for those fish to start, you know, sort of transitioning out of like the fast summer hot water that we normally fish, those big, you know, drawn out banks, riffles, you know, heavy seam lines. and look for those fish to start transitioning, if they haven't already due to pressure from the summer, into some of those weirder water types or those fall winter water types like recirculating eddies, you know, deeper troughs on banks, tail outs, flats, things along those lines. And I think you'll be really surprised on where you start finding some fish this time of year. The South Fork of the Snake, we saw flows come down exponentially on the Idaho side to around 6,000 CFS coming out of Palisades Dam, 5,630 CFS there on the lower river. South Fork, pretty similar stuff to here on the Snake. We're seeing some really good foam and hopper fishing there in the canyon. You know, some Hecuba drakes, big parachute, hare's ears, big purple parachutes. Things, smaller green and gray drake patterns have been really good. Look for those mahoganies and those betas as well as the streamer fishing. The upper section has still been challenging. I think we're at that time where Palisades Reservoir is 14% of capacity. The quality of water coming out of Palisades Dam there probably isn't as great as it was when it's above 20%. So hopefully in these next couple weeks we're going to see those flows come down and we'll see, you know, some things sort of settle out. The upper is still mostly a nymphing game with some sporadic dry fly fishing opportunities, as well as some streamer fishing like on a day like today. The Teton and Teton Valley, 278 CFS outside of Driggs, 400 CFS there on the lower river around St. Anthony. The Teton, like the Henry's Fork, like the Salt, like a couple of these other, the Green and all these other rivers are going to come back onto your radar here with this fall weather, where we're seeing water temperatures drop back into those friendly times and areas for our trout friends, and we're going to start to see our fall bug hatches really get going and see some great fall fishing. I'd concentrate on those Hecuba drakes on the Teton, you know, somewhere around 10, 11, noonish. I would also have some mahoganies and betas and the leftover terrestrials. Similarly, 278 CFS there in the valley is pretty low, and so those floats are going to take you much longer than they did in the summer. Plus our days are getting shorter and our nights are getting longer, so you're not going to have as much daylight to sort of mess with. Small streamers on the Teton and in the Teton Canyon can be really effective right now too. Henry's Fork, around 400 CFS coming, or I think it's 600 CFS, 595, sorry, coming out of the box, 1,040 CFS there on the lower river. Sort of like the Teton, we're seeing the Henry's Fork sort of come back online for its fall fishing season. The Box Canyon has been fishing really well with nymphs, bullet quills, perdigons, Spanish bullets, small rubber legs, zebra midges, any of that sort of technical tailwater styled fare has been really good, especially there in the box. The lower river is starting to turn back on. Warm River to Ashton fished really well this week with hopper dropper, dry dropper stuff, or double dries like a parachute and a smaller mahogany or betas behind it. And look for that the river down around Aura, Vernon, and Chester to get good again now that we're getting some cooler days and nights, and some of that weed growth is definitely busting off and opening up some things from the summer season. The ranch has still been pretty technical. Definitely keep a couple of terrestrials, as I was saying, honey ants, small hoppers, crickets, ants, and things like that. But the name of the game really is going to be the mahoganies and the betas there moving forward. Throw in Flat Creek. You know, they're here in the National Elk Refuge with mahoganies, betas, and the snake drakes has been fishing really well now that we've seen these water temperatures come down. Our local area lakes like Lewis, Henry's Lake, Jenny Lake are going to come back online with some cooler water temps as fish sort of start to get feeding before the winter summer season. So in essence, we're sort of in that last week of June, beginning of July time frame, where I say you can do no wrong with where you go. Definitely this time of year you're going to have to watch the flows, because they're going to be very variable as water managers start turning faucets off in certain places. But other than that, you've got some great fishing opportunities coming in to this wonderful fall weekend that we've had here in the greater Jackson Hole area. So our fly shop's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. We look forward to seeing everyone this fall season. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great weekend.